Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Self-Consciousness Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Way. Thank you so much for being here. We've got some different music playing. On today's episode, I wanted to create something a little different. I've been thinking a lot about my mom lately, who passed in 2018. I've been thinking about masculine and feminine, and I've been thinking especially about wounded masculine and wounded feminine coming to the surface right now. The mother wound was also something I've heard people talk about without really understanding what they were referring to. Interestingly enough, Goop has a pretty feminist article on it. Super surprising. But I also read about it, and a lot of what I found was it's being described in a way that seems to squarely blame mothers for narcissistic behavior. Like mothers who weren't there for you on an emotional level, mothers who expected you to take care of them emotionally and physically, or mothers who made you feel nervous and made you feel like you couldn't really talk to them or be yourself. I experienced that and more from my own mom. But there's so much nuance to that selfish, evil mother vibe. It's so easy to blame mothers. And boy, did I blame my own. There's something that really tugs at me when I read explanations like this. And I mean, maybe I shouldn't take articles on healthline.com so seriously, but it's this lens of Western patriarchal structure. This lens of a mother's biological duty that she neglects because she forms no emotional bond. It consistently falls on the mother to bear the entirety of this new being in our Western society. In other cultures, there's something called alloparenting, A-L-L-O parenting. This literally means care by those other than parents. It's healthy and common. It means babies that do not have exclusive or intensive attachments to their mother still grow up perfectly stable. And that's not seen as something that's healthy, quote, healthy development in a Western setting. Here is why unwrapping subconscious beliefs about motherhood, fatherhood, masculinity, and femininity are so important right now. Our mother wound is subjective. I mean, there's like 2 articles already that I found saying 2 almost completely different things. So learning how and where you might over-identify with a storyline or a narrative, that's part of the process. Do you need to have a mother wound in order to heal an aspect of your inner child? Okay, no problem. I definitely did. But I also learned that while I could hurl all the spiritual or psychological terminology around my experience or my abuse, all that really mattered is that I loved my mother and she loved me. And even though that love changed form, I can still feel it. I wanted to talk about masculine and feminine and why I feel like it has to be part of our discussions around spiritual ascension, as some people's realities are starting to expand. So first off, when I'm speaking of masculine and feminine, I am speaking of energies, not genders. Hopefully you know this by now. You've been listening to me talk for long enough. All humans have masculine and feminine energy within them, as it is the initial split of source or God energy. And as part of our 3D reality, masculine and feminine has been created and programmed as a man-woman thing, but I think we can all agree that this is changing. Masculine or yang, when it's expressed divinely, has these qualities: action, direction, movement, focus, generosity, discipline, risk-taking, boundaries, clarity, intellect and analysis, density, growth, transformation, and material abundance. The feminine, or the yin, when it's divinely expressed, it holds these qualities: collaboration, being reflective, wisdom, life, renewal, creation, birth, healing, receptivity, openness, being creative, kind, gentle, nurturing, love, understanding, compassion, insight, intuition, calm, connection, harmony, and sensuality. Try putting that on your resume. See how many employers hire you for understanding or kindness. Feminine qualities usually tend to be the ones that are thought of as weak. We've been bending over backwards trying to fit feminine into spaces that center on or value primarily the masculine over the feminine. If we are women, our ability to align within an overwhelmingly male-dominated environment or workplace, this depends on our own internal masculine and feminine balance. How does wounded masculine show up in me? How does wounded feminine show up in me? It's really hard to bring divine feminine into an unbalanced and toxically masculine environment, aka the majority of them. So, what's my point in all of this? You have to recognize that the presence of masculine and feminine is inside of you. Find where the shadows are and think of the times you wanted to scream, I'm not your fucking secretary. All right. I mean, maybe that's just me, but I felt that a lot in my life. We're currently in a crisis of pronounced wounded masculine as we are shifting from a masculine mental era to a more balanced, heart-centered existence. And in order for this to happen, divine feminine must rise and help heal the wounded feminine in everyone. We have to bring value back to the feminine and discover the truth of what feminine really is, besides what you've been told. We can't heal the masculine until we heal the internal feminine first. Accept your internal feminine. Defend it. It is yours to embody. I believe in our feminine, we can support and encourage the masculine, but not do its work. Masculine energy has its own emotional element to it. We can make space for the divine power of balanced and healed masculine and feminine energies. But part of balancing these energies is understanding all of the lenses that we have projected onto motherhood, what it means to our families, our society, to our cultures. Who is the great mother? How does she mother us? What is it to be nurtured, guided, cared for? How does she initiate this?
Hey, sweetie, just do me a favor and text me. Let me know that you're okay. I hope everybody's feeling well. You mentioned something about germs, so that's why I was concerned. Bye-bye.
How did this experience initiate me? What is it to be mothered? The wounding feels like it originates from being bound by gender-assigned roles. This split between masculine and feminine, between good and evil, one or the other. I believe that it's our relationships with our mothers, over generations, over continents, that many of us are here to work on. We're here to fix what we can. We're here to heal our mother's pain, our grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and so on. Pain left behind from patriarchal madness and violence. We're here to heal the external feminine, most notably the planet. And we're here to heal our internal feminine. Healing your internal feminine means first understanding her wounds, understanding your wounds in context, in honesty, in full acceptance of your entire experience and all the feelings that come from it. Allowing yourself to feel those feelings. Be aware of self-judgment. Be gracious with yourself.
It's me. I was just about to do my teeth and I wouldn't hear the phone, but I guess you're busy anyway. So I'll talk to you soon. I love you. Bye.
I think I always knew, since I was a little girl, that losing my mother would stop a part of my life. Like, a piece of me would literally die. I was very dependent on her. The last words she actually said to me were, ow, you're leaning on me too hard, when I had crawled onto her hospital bed. And of course, I screamed out, ain't that the truth? I joked to my sister and my aunt, and I don't think they laughed, but my mother endured a lot of trauma in her life. And I believe that the stress of these traumas activated mental illness. And I'm kind of air quoting mental illness because, man, once that woman went through menopause, she balanced the fuck out. And I don't think we give hormonal cycles, the impact on women's mental and emotional states. I don't think we give that enough attention. And then they would say we're too needy.
Hey, it's me. I just called to say hello, see how you are. I just talked to your dad. He said the party was fabulous. Please call me. Bye.
My mom, my sister and I decided to diagnose ourselves, always smart, was borderline narcissistic personality disorder. Though one of my psychologists told me in later years that she was likely full-on NPD and not borderline. I didn't see the reality of the dysfunction of our relationship until I was in my early 30s. I was an angry, pregnant 32-year-old teen rebel. It was a really good look, let me tell you. It took me years to move through this. The newly seen and realized effects from being a part of that family, a family that didn't make me feel seen or understood.
Hey, sweetie, it's me. I just thought I'd tell you, you may already know, but it's snowing here. And just a little reminder that I'm sure you already know is that you need to make sure the garage door will be closed and the light turned out, and then when you come in the house, that the door is locked. Okay? I love you. Talk to you later. Bye.
In my analysis of narcissism, I was almost gladly excited to be able to find that label and really talk about how much it just affected me. In the years of my latent rebellion, I attacked my mom for her personality disorder. And when I think about that now, I feel like it was so cruel. And if she took it that way dramatically in my eyes, I realize now she was actually being super genuine to herself because it was cruel to her. Whether I thought it was or not at the time, that was her experience. She wasn't trying to hurt me. Abuse was such an easy language to speak in my house. Cruelty in words and intent, and sometimes even wooden paddles or a bar of ivory soap pushed into your mouth. That was normal. I mean, it was the 80s. We got a lot wrong in that decade. Look at Cosby. I developed some real anger in my late 30s. I continued the cycle of abuse and just felt that it was very fair to be mean and cruel to my parents.
Hi, sweetie pie. I just woke up, so there's no rush at all. I would wait a little longer until the roads built. I understand there's a lot of snow. Okay, bye.
That was the last. That was. Did not want to do this. That was the last message that I ever had from her. She had been diagnosed with cancer in June and then went into palliative care in August and passed away November 1st. I think I underestimated how far... excuse me, this must not be fun to listen to. I underestimated how far I would go to avoid feeling grief after she died. It was too much to feel. Sometimes I feel like I could still cry for days. It can be too heavy sometimes. But I have to actively keep telling myself it will balance once it comes out, once it gets released and processed. And it always does. I never believe it in the moment, but it always does. It took a long time for me to understand that I had to feel the grief to move forward. I couldn't avoid it. I couldn't spiritually bypass it, which I had been trying to do. Emotions have to be able to move. If they get stuck, there is buildup. And we are a society that does not like to feel too much. We hire performers and artists to do it for us. We love our drama. Then we don't have to feel or experience. It's like totally safe. Think about if you're at a job and you lose a loved one. What do you get, 2 weeks? Like, it's so ridiculous. 2 whole weeks to mourn the loss of a dear family member. So with the overflowed sludge of wounded masculine that we are all navigating and hopefully trying not to be swallowed by, it's easy to go back into patterns of pleasing, just wanting to keep everything calm, disconnected, and even getting yourself numbed. How do we deal with everything around us? And we recognize that everything around us is our own energy. It is what our energy, our toroidal field is creating, what it has called in. So we have to start turning inward to observe how we work, our own behavior, our own wounds. For now, I believe we should be focusing on observing our internal wounded masculine and feminine. I think we can surrender to the fact that masculine needs healing, but we don't have to give ourselves away to it anymore. Am I right, ladies? I don't have to be anyone's supporting cast. This is my fucking movie. I no longer identify with the moon. I am the sun.
Yesterday it came slowly. I awoke from dreams of untying a great knot and unraveled like a braid into what seemed were thousands of separate strands of fishing line attached to course behavior flow. A con each what else is here. How does it feel to be at the come to clear us off. But the only offering that comes